Hello everyone, what is up? Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. Today we're going to be talking about what's happening with XRP in the XRP community. Now in CoinMarketCap, XRP is around 19 cents. Bitcoin is at 9.1k. But if we go to Mr. Level Up Suite, update number 1.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? So I want to give you an update on cryptocurrencies, just the whole market, and just some of the things I'm looking at, what I'm seeing, and then obviously I'll talk about XRP. First thing, I'll just get XRP. I'll do that one out the way real quick. When I look at this fractal here, and I see that what we're doing here, we're pretty much just finishing up this point right here. We had this moment here, which was this. We had this, which was this, and then obviously the triple cups, which were the triple cups there. So I'm looking for this to obviously respond and start to work its way back up here out of this. So that's just a quick update for XRP. Can XRP shoot up and do some crazy stuff? I think so. It can. It has the ability. Any of these coins do, just like Theta Fuel. I feel that many of them are already in a bull run. I've said that before. There's multiple ones that are way ahead of things, such even way ahead of BTC, ahead of everybody.
You can see right here that look at all of these other coins and look at XRP. So XRP time will come, guys. Now guys, before we jump into news, I like to say I'm not a financial advisor, nor this financial advice, just for entertainment value only. XRP Yo-Yo tweeted out,
gold as money fall down. Every single one of them. There is no impediment to having a monetary standard based on gold. And if you do, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm saying that in a financial panic, in a liquidity crisis, in a monetary panic, worse than 2008, which I do expect, if international elites, the IMF, finance ministers of the G20 countries have to restore confidence and they turn to gold, which they might, you have to have $10,000 gold. Any lower price is deflationary. It would completely defeat the purpose. It would repeat the blunders of 1925. And so basically there's nothing standing in the way of a gold standard tomorrow. So let's talk about crypto, everyone's favorite topic. My least favorite topic, believe me, I spend a lot of time on it. I study it. I read all these white papers. I read peer-reviewed scientific papers. I grind my way through the equations, but it's painful. But everyone wants to talk about it, so let's jump in. First of all, there's no such thing as cryptocurrency. There are 1,000 cryptocurrencies. In other words, you cannot speak generically about cryptocurrencies. Jim Rickards hates cryptocurrencies. That's not true. I really, really dislike Bitcoin, and I'll tell you why. But there are cryptocurrencies out there that I think are very interesting and worth your consideration. I'm for it. I'm against it. Cryptocurrency means nothing. You have to talk about the specific currency. And I'm showing Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, and Ether. By the way, isn't it fascinating how the graphical representation of cryptocurrencies is always a gold or silver coin? Bitcoin's gold and Litecoin's silver, Monero is both, and Ether is gold. And what are they trying to say? I think that psychologically what they're saying is, well, this is nothing, but if we pretend it's a gold coin, and someone will buy it. But I just find this a little bit of an aside. But no, it's the same thing is true with fiat currencies. You can't be like or dislike fiat currencies generically. Some people do because they just hate central banks. I understand that. But it's a big difference between a Venezuelan Bolivar and a euro. Big difference between a Zimbabwe dollar and a U.S. dollar. So in other words, don't talk to me about cryptocurrencies. Tell me what specific one you want to talk about, and that's a more interesting conversation.
there is no such thing as cryptocurrency. But then he said there's a few coins that is really interesting. Once again from XRP Yo-Yo. Back to the gold standard. It's up to the president.
U.S. should go back to the gold standard for our currency.
Let me say I wouldn't. This could feasibly be considered commenting on a particular nominee who has recommended that, and of course I would not do that. I will answer your question, but I want to make sure that this isn't interpreted in that way. So no, I don't think that would be a good idea. The idea would be Congress would have to pass a law, and that law would say that our job with monetary policy is to manage the level of the dollar, stabilize the dollar price of gold. And we would then not be looking at maximum employment or stable prices. And there have been plenty of times in the fairly recent history where the price of gold has sent signals that would be quite negative for either of those goals. So I don't think that's something that would be attractive. No other country uses it.
Because it's much more volatile linking it to gold would be very
Well,
volatile.
it's
or could
really
be.
that it's not connected to our direct. You've assigned us the job of two direct real economy objectives: maximum employment, stable prices. If you assigned us stabilize the dollar price of gold, monetary policy could do that, but the other things would fluctuate, and we wouldn't care. We wouldn't care if unemployment went up or down. That wouldn't be our job anymore. So I think that would be difficult.
And that's not a positive mission for the Fed. You're much better mission for the Fed is what you're doing right now.
Well, this is why every country in the world abandoned the gold standard some decades ago.
Okay. Well, and that reluctance or that desire not to go back to the gold standard is something that you have in common with the CEOs of the seven of the world's globally systemic important banks who were before us in April and said the same thing. But it is worth noting that last week the president nominated Judy Shelton for a seat on the Fed, and she is similar to two of his other would-be nominees in that she does favor a return to the gold standard. So I assume from your earlier answers that you don't share that view.
I don't share that view, but I would never comment on the views or any particular nominee. We do not play a role in the nomination process. It's totally up to
the rise and fall of the dollar. Look at this picture right here. Very interesting, guys. Lots of stuff seems to be happening. Next, it comes from Boy XRP.
And all these middlemen, create some friction points that create risk, but also inefficiencies and costs that end up meaning that remittances can cost between 5 and 10% of the transaction. And so in the spirit of thinking, okay, well, is there a better way we can think of to clear some of this up, to make it more efficient? And that's exactly what we're looking for here. Is not to say, okay, well, we're going to put all the correspondent banks out of business, but it's just to understand how it works. And I think doing that from a policymaker's point of view is just really important, because in doing it ourselves, we're going to learn a little bit about how we might look at a private sector solution if that's what we end up with, because we're going to understand it. So I guess it's time to conclude. The first thing that really hits me about this is that there's a lot of situational ironies here in the crypto sphere. It's supposed to be about decentralization, but along many lines, it's actually all about centralization in another way. They say, okay, well, trust is going to be reduced. And I look at it and I say, no, actually, it's reduced in one aspect, but it's shifted in a really big way to others who, in fact, are outside the regulatory sphere and may not actually merit that trust. And I think it's a pity, because there may be a lot of really good ideas out there that are getting tarnished because of this situation. And then finally, in terms of ironies, well, the money supply rule is the thing that was supposed to be the strong suit that made individuals who don't like governments and central banks feel better. But it may turn out, in terms of a monetary policy regime, to be its Achilles heel. I think the crypto asset sphere is not a risk to the financial system right now, but it's growing. And the incentives that are embedded there, given the state of regulation and oversight, point to a little bit of trouble down the road. And again, I think that's a pity, because there's some good ideas that might get tarnished with the wrong brush.
Questions they pose for central banks, including their possible impact on monetary policy regimes and whether central banks should issue their own digital currencies. Now, guys, we're into the fun part of XRP and the XRP community. Now, this is quite interesting. We're born to tweet out G7. You already know what's coming. Again, guys, we already know what is coming. Gold. Next week comes from XRP Joker. True prices have never been revealed. From inception, XRP has been the one. They know it, and we know it. How valuable is your time? Is it worth being rich beyond your wildest dreams? The margins are terrifying. Are you ready to board the ship? T-10, guys. Patience, patience, patience. Remember, the margins are terrifying. Next week comes from Taylor. Something moved. So does something happen now? Again, something has moved. Now, if we go down the replies, nothing happens until something moves. What do you guys think this means? Next week comes from Baba Cugs. Always remember, it's not how many coins you have, it's when you sell. Now you guys can check out the scenario A versus scenario B. You get the point. Hold till 2022 to 2023. Maybe that's when the real price target will hit. As we can see, thousands of dollars, who knows? It comes from XRP HODL. Mr. Poole, recent post. Now Mr. Poole has tweeted out different types of pictures right here, but it does look connected in some or another way. Now the final tweet comes from Mr. Poole. We could see shh. Now there's a couple things that have changed in this picture. We could see this owl right here, maybe that, and maybe a few other things. I like the owl on the far left side. So what do you guys think about this picture right here? But anyways, guys, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. If you guys did, please leave a like, subscribe if you guys haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day, and you guys, see ya.
This is the beginning of the greatest economic cycle this country has had since World War II. And I knew the things that Donald would do, and he hasn't even got started. But this is the eye of the motherfucking storm, the perfect storm. It ain't never going to get any better. Never. This is perfect for the QLA model. If I could have written a prescription or a formula, I couldn't have written it any better. Low interest rates, money's free, you stupid. Massive chaos. And Donald's going to rip the mother economy apart. And he's going to for practice in a good way. This is it. It ain't never going to get anything better. This is like a multiple orgasm the rest of your life, you fucking slags that are in the audience. This is it.
Sometimes I don't want to hear what Dan has to tell me. But as I wrote in one of my blogs, the old man, he's always right. Because he's telling you what you don't want to hear about yourself, but what you know is true. And that is, you're not stepping yourself up. You're not stepping your game up. And you get caught up in fear. As Dan says, false expectations appearing real.